When I was in the Air Force, I was just in the Air Force. Politics wasn't a big part of our day-to-day operation. And I would argue that, largely speaking today, throughout the services, politics still is not a big part of what they do. However, there's been a momentous shift during the past calendar year to begin offering not just annual trainings, but monthly and weekly and daily conversation in some bases, depending on where you work, about race-related issues. They're politicizing discussions, not unifying discussions. They're divisive discussions, because a lot of the language of critical race theory is being invoked, something that the American people hadn't heard a lot about in the past, before the past calendar year, but are beginning to hear a lot about now. And as I recognized those discussions in the form of what we call diversity and inclusion trainings, stand-down days, both locally and also Department of Defense wide, I recognize just how divisive these discussion points were going to become as our down days and trainings were starting to translate into white and black airmen, for example, starting to be skeptical of one another based on what they were being trained to believe. Asian American airmen coming to me and explaining that they're tired of all of the black versus white rhetoric and that they're deciding to get out of the Air Force. White airmen coming to me and saying they're deciding to separate from the Air Force or Space Force because they're tired of being accused of racism constantly. So this is the time period, the last calendar year, that I've recognized these things really starting to heat up. And that's been true across broader society, but also in the services.
Is there a single event that caused that, or was it because there's a big difference between a sudden tipping point and just a gradual, build up to, hey, where did you show up out of nowhere? You're sitting here telling me I'm racist. I don't have any problem with anybody. I just want to make sure you're performing. How did it show? Was it overnight or was it gradual?
The reason that's difficult to answer properly, in my view, is because the answer is both. It is both gradual and it is sudden. Marxist, communist, subversive tactics require years, if not generations, to properly germinate, for the soil to be properly prepared, for people's willingness to divorce themselves from what would be considered traditional values. That kind of thing takes a long time. There's a reason those who understand and are intent upon pushing that agenda target the education system, specifically higher learning, but also now the public education system, our churches. Those institutions are places where, from a very young age to our adult life, we continue to be educated and influenced. And if you can plant subtle ideas over a long period of time, all it takes is certain tipping point or crisis events, as you pointed out, to capitalize on in order to begin revolutionary changes within a society. One such event, it's just a matter of fact, I know it's controversial, but was George Floyd's death. What I saw in broader society, and incidentally in the military services this past calendar year, was that event was capitalized on by those who are activists for, whether they realize it or not, a Marxist agenda. Black Lives Matter and Antifa, for example, have Marxist aims. There are many compassionate people who participate in these various efforts because they're compassionate and because they are interested in bettering the lives of humans. But what they don't understand is that the inventors of or creators of the ideology and the agenda have a particular aim in mind, and it's division, not unity. It's revolution, not peaceful unification of society.
So if you like this little short clip from an interview I did, click over here to watch the entire interview. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.